Hey guys, Brian here from Solid Woodworks. Today we're doing a little update on a GMC Canyon build I built out about a year ago. This is my customer Lauren, and he emailed me, wanted to do a little update video on things that he did use, didn't use, would change, and things like that. So how you doing today, Lauren?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Yeah, just enjoying my Canyon and it's great work that Brian did here at Solid Woodworks. And I thought kind of cool to just kind of do an update on what's happening with it.
Yeah, he's been out in the last year, what, maybe a dozen different trips at least, if not
probably
more.
At least more than, yeah, probably more than that, about 20 trips maybe.
And you kind of do like a 2 to 3 day camping slash backpacking trip.
Yeah, 2 to 3 day weekends. You know, maybe do like an overnight backpacking in the middle, or just like 2 to 3 days with the truck going out on. Yeah, just kind of the backcountry roads around Southern California. Yeah,
and this is the 4-wheel drive Canyon 6-foot bed diesel, right?
Diesel, yeah, Denali, so it's like, yeah.
It's plush inside.
It's a little plush.
Yeah, no, it's nice. But then what you kind of wanted was, like, as you were explaining, the 2 to 3 day weekender kind of, I call this like the Baja style build, where you have one cabinet on one side, a single sleeping area with the 5-foot drawer, and then the option to have the dual sleeping area. So first things first, have you used the dual sleeping area? And if you were to do it again, would you keep it the same way, or would you just kind of completely erase that?
Yeah, so I have used it only a couple times. My wife comes with me sometimes, but she's not really into it as much as I am. So yeah, I'd keep it. And the nice thing is the board just like stays there. It's like totally out of the way, so it's no big deal to bring the board. And then the other we did like two pieces, so little end piece there. Kind
of like a little bedside table, like you're explaining.
Yeah, I use it as like a bedside table, exactly. So it's actually been good. I would do it exactly the same as far as that's concerned. And the board is like I just leave it in there. It's no big deal to leave it there. And if I ever need it, it's there, and I don't have to think about whether I bring it or not.
Gotcha. And then as for the drawer system, I remember we were trying to play with the height of the drawer and how all that was going to work, because you're a bit taller guy. You're like, what, 5'10" or something? 5'11"?
Yeah, 5'11", yeah.
Okay. I'm a little shorter, so like when I was sitting in there, I was trying to figure out the perfect height to keep this drawer system. Plus, he was saying that he was just going to have a pretty simple kind of backpacking thin mattress here, and you're saying the height is pretty much perfect.
We like nailed it. The great thing is I can sit in the back, sledge down just a little bit, put a pillow up against the side, and I totally clear the roof. So yeah, the height is like absolutely perfect. So
as you're saying, you'll kind of sit right here, have your pillow on the back, feet out here. We installed a little night light over here, which you said is perfect because you're just kind of hang out in here, read at night.
Yeah, it kind of hangs over your shoulder and you can read, and it's adjustable, so it's just like nice. It's not too bright. It's just bright enough that you can like read with, and on that. So it's
still
really
kind of stealth.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's a little kind of stealth.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I'm mostly out in nature, so I'm not. I don't have curtains or anything, so I'm not too worried about the stealth side.
Gotcha. But this actual cab is the Lear, and what do they call this version? Since it's a little bit taller, right?
Yeah, it's the Lear mid height.
Okay, so it's a mid height, so it looks like about like 4 or 5 inches taller than like a normal, just kind of flat shell. So just for people's kind of details, if you're wondering what the height would be and whatnot. I can't remember what height I made this. I'll set this down for a second, but it looks like off of the truck bed, it's about 7.5 inches tall from this subfloor here to the top of here, plus the little air mattress.
Yeah, and we set it so it is exactly like you basically put it so it's just above the
wheel well.
The wheel well,
Gotcha.
Exactly. So it's sitting right on the wheel well, essentially.
Perfect.
So that was kind of how we set it.
Gotcha. And then just kind of starting from this side of the truck, moving into the truck. How do you like the 5-foot drawer slide, and how often do you use it? What do you have in it, and would you change it, or would you keep it exactly the same?
So I love it, first of all.
Yeah.
I use it a lot. The 5-foot is great. I just got the boards like this. I just toss them up here. I got these little plastic little boxes, and I got them, and they fit like I nailed it on the size of them. They fit perfectly. I got like camp stoves, some pots and bowls and cups and what have you. Little canister, little odds and ends in here. So this is kind of like my my truck camping stuff.
But this is like as you were explaining to me just before we started the video. This is kind of like all you bring to cook with. You don't bring a large Coleman stove. You don't bring an ice chest or anything. You have mostly freeze-dried food. So this area is pretty much all you have for when you go backpacking, plus maybe your little backpack as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I go pretty lightweight. I'm not going that fancy.
Yeah.
I mean, I have like some folding chairs. My hiking poles in there, and odds and ends.
Gotcha. But when you are cooking, you pretty much have the drawer out of almost, full extension, maybe 75% out, and you kind of just hang out here. You take all of your gear out, set it up top here, set it up, and you kind of just hang out here looking out to nature and everything, pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. And you kind of have like a little bit of shade maybe from
a
your
little bit of shade, but like it's usually like evening time, so
yeah,
it's no problem. And I've been out sometimes with like just some friends for a day trip, and you do like a lunch off of here.
Yeah.
You get some chairs set up, and do like a kind of charcuterie board or something like that. It's like really nice. A little pot of tea or something, or some wine or whatever. It's
nice to have something that's kind of outside the truck. As we'll get later on in the video, he was explaining that he's found himself to be outside of the shell cooking and camping a lot more than he expected to be inside the shell. So we'll get to that in a second here. But to have a nice flat area that sticks outside the truck and you can be on both sides of, it just seems like it works out perfect.
And I just end up sitting here, and it's great.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So moving along to the inside, let's just kind of talk about like a couple things that you'd possibly not need if you were to redo the build. I remember first thing you were talking about was possibly the max fan roof.
Yeah, so the fan, I mean, the fan in the roof vent is fine, but like I've only like really used it like once or twice where I've actually used the fan. With the side windows, you get enough breeze that it's not a big deal. There was one night when it was like 85 degrees or something like that, and I had the fan running just to keep some air going. But most of the time I'm camping, it's not that hot.
So if you were to possibly redo it, you probably would not add the fan to the shell, and maybe just have a portable fan or something.
Yeah, I'd maybe skip the fan. I'm fine that it's there. It's okay, but like I'd probably skip it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then one of the things I remember when you came, you really wanted to have like a small little sink up here, which ended up coming out really cool, I thought, and it was pretty badass how we made it fit in there. But you're saying that you've only used it a couple times.
Yeah, I was sure that I'd want a sink, and like I hardly ever use it. What we've got is there's a little hose and a oops, where is it up here?
Oh yeah, a little nozzle.
Little nozzle, and you just turn it on and you get water wherever you want. I end up using that more than anything.
So that was like something that we added on, I think, like right at the end of the build, having the little extra hose part. And the way it is that we have a little water pump inside of the 5-gallon jug, which is plenty of water for you. Yeah. And instead of using the little sink, which we drained out the bottom of the truck, kind of just use the little hose to wash off your dishes real quick or your boots or anything, fill up a water bottle, and it works out perfectly. Yeah,
I mean, what I would do differently is like this hose is kind of it's a bit, it's not a major pain, but it's a bit of pain because you got to like open this and pull it out, and then you got the door open.
Yeah.
I'd like probably maybe put like, like a hole here or something where it's sticking out. You can just like easily grab it, and it was like just, at your fingertips.
A little more accessible.
Without
having to open too many things.
Skip the sink.
Yeah, no sink, just have one big flat surface.
Yeah, because like I hardly ever use the sink.
Yeah, and you're saying like we are obviously in Southern California, and that's where he does most of his car camping is in California, Southern California, even some of the desert regions of Arizona and whatnot. So if you were to be camping up in like maybe Oregon or Washington, somewhere where it's a lot more wet, you'd probably be inside the vehicle more often, using the sink possibly. But since this is where we are, it's just not as big of a necessity.
Yeah, I've, as I say, done probably about 20 trips, and I think there's only been 1 or 2 times where I've actually like been inside, had to be inside the truck because of rain or something like that. Even then, I still probably, the sink probably you wouldn't even need it still then.
Gotcha.
I've cooked inside here. You just like open the windows and just cook down on the floor here.
Yep.
And you get lots of space on the counter there.
Yep.
It's fine.
Gotcha.
What's really actually kind of nice, I remember one time I was it was raining and I had like the tailgate closed but this thing open.
Yep.
It was lovely sitting in the back and listening to the rain and that sort of thing. Plenty of room.
Yeah, having the little bit of headspace and everything.
Yeah.
Awesome. Moving forward to the Gold Zero setup that we installed in here. Just to explain that real quick, if you haven't seen the video of the full conversion that I have up on the YouTube, there'll be a link in the bio of the first video when the conversion was finished. There would not be the max fan in there, which he came back to get installed later, but I kind of explained how that works. But to re-explain it, he brought me the Gold Zero. Can't remember if it's a Yeti 400 or 500. I guess we can go look at it. But he has not used it as much as he thinks he would have to be able to charge, laptops or anything like that. He says it's perfect to charge your phone.
Phone and iPad overnight. I typically, because I'm only going for like a couple days, I don't even bother with a laptop. I just bring an iPad.
Gotcha.
And it charges the iPad and the phone, and I run the light and the the pump for the water.
Yep.
And on a 2-3 day trip, it's only going down to like maybe 90%.
Gotcha. So it's like maybe a little bit overkill. You could have probably got a smaller Yeti, spent a couple $100 less dollars. But you were saying that it's awesome to be able to have it wired, how we have it wired to a like a two-way fuse to where when the car is turning on, the alternator is charging the car main battery, it also charges the Yeti. So he just doesn't ever have to worry about the battery being dead. When he goes on a trip, he knows it's always charged, and it's just a nice peace of mind, but could have possibly spent a little less on a smaller battery.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, the fact that it just is always charged and I don't ever have to think about it is awesome.
Yeah, and I remember we kind of made it so it's easily removable. And have you ever had to remove it to take it and use it anywhere else?
No, I just leave it in the truck all the time.
Okay. So I remember you saying maybe I'd take it out, put it on a picnic table if you wanted to use it, but never have.
It is really easy to remove because it's just like 2 plugs and it's got a handle on it, and you can just pull it out.
We got the top plug there, which is all the 12 volt that goes into it, and the bottom plug is the
charging
charger. That is a Goal Zero charger. That is what's hooked up to the two-way fuse up in the engine compartment that charges when the car is running.
Yeah, so I've never really removed it. I just leave it in there. As I say, my use of it is not kind of what I thought it would be.
Gotcha, yeah. And then what about like the compartments up in the far front there, and then the compartment here where the extra room for the battery is? Like, how have you been using those, and how have they been working out?
Awesome. The far front compartment, I stick like my sleeping bag in there, and I can stick like a, like kind of a clothes duffel, like like a small little duffel with clothes in. It's perfect. Where the Goal Zero is, so I do a fair bit of backpacking, and if you're up in the mountains, you need a bear can. Yep. So I got my bear can there, and we just nailed it on the sides, like it just perfectly fits in there. So
and it has a little lip so it doesn't fall out.
So it doesn't fall out, exactly. And so I kind of, even when I'm truck camping, I just use that for my food because it's just kind of convenient to put all your food in it. So, and it just fits perfectly in there. And then in here, in this cupboard, I got like a little collapsible sink I put in there, and I put like a couple little cloths and stuff just in case, just for wiping up stuff.
Exactly. And what is this little yellow bag? I mean, obviously it's just a bag, but what do you use it for?
Garbage bag.
Okay, perfect.
So it hangs there, and it's like
just close to the outside and stuff.
Yeah,
and
so it's just hanging right there. It's always right there where you need it. So
perfect.
Yeah, and then the only other thing I changed is like when you built it, you had like magnets. Yeah. And I found like any kind of bump or anything, it would open, and so I just put this little hook, hook thing, and you just like reach in and pull it. It's really a little more robust.
And then you're showing me right when you showed up was this little bit of like kind of a clear angle.
Yeah, so like I noticed like on there and like on the edge it was like chipping just a little because it's just like plywood. So I just got this at Home Depot. It's like some clear like corner guard. Yeah, I think it was like $4 or $5 for an child section or something. Yeah, and it fit on there perfectly. It's like really nice, and so it just like protects the edges there.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so. And then last couple little things. There's a couple like little random hidden storage compartments that we had. First one right here in the back here showing that you just kind of put your boots in there because it's close to the back and probably easy to get to, I imagine. And then what about the other ones?
The other one, I don't use the other one that much. I think I have some like I think I have some like LED USB lights or something in there. Yep. And then the one at the back is great because like if I'm going for a trip, I can put like my iPad in there. If I'm going like backpacking, and I know and it's like completely out of sight when you put the the air mattress on, it's completely out of sight. So I kind of use that as like, I'll call it secure storage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions or concerns that you could think of after using the truck for about a year and 20 different trips in it? Anything you would have done differently if you were to rebuild it from scratch?
Yeah, not really. I really enjoy it. I get a lot of compliments. Yeah. So like if I'm ever like in a parking lot or meeting up with friends, they're like, "Wow, that's like really awesome."
Perfect setup. Yeah.
Yeah. So not really. I mean, like we said, I'd probably skip the fan, do a little smaller battery, skip the sink, but like I'm not like
bummed out that you.
I'm not bummed out that I got them. Exactly.
A couple $100 more, you kind of already have it, and if you ever need it, it's kind of nice to have it.
Yeah. So like quite honestly, there's not much I would change. I mean, that like the size of everything and just like where like the layout of everything is perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Really enjoying it.
Yeah, and then as you're saying earlier, it's almost impossible to not get dust into these things, so just kind of always being clean, and like there's always just sand everywhere, and we've all figured out, like anybody does some truck camping, that all these little corners and gaskets is nearly impossible to keep clean. So have you figured anything out yet, or you're just kind of wiping up whenever you can?
I bought one of these like gasket kits. Yeah. And, like it helped a little bit. It was like way worse before I got that. Yeah. I don't know. Like,
still haven't found the perfect medium
yet. I haven't found it, but like after every trip, I have to take like kind of a damp cloth and just kind of wipe the whole inside out. Yeah. And sometimes vacuum. It actually needs. It's pretty bad right now.
Gotcha.
Vacuum, but,
what about like all the carpeting like that we had done? Does that work pretty good with like stuff from flying around? It's kind of easy to clean up and.
Yeah, I like the. I mean, the carpeting. It's like no fuss, no muss. It's nothing fancy. It's just like yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be wearing pretty good, although I mean, it's not getting a lot of wear. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
And is there anything that you would add to the build that you don't have after being in it for about a year, or anything that you would change about the drawer, or?
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of go back and forth on this. You know, like, so with the drawers, like, you know, this is just like a board.
Yep.
You know, would I maybe put like a, you know, like a hinge or something like this so that, you know, I don't have to worry about them? But,
Yep.
you know, these are fine. I don't know that, you know, like the, you know, like, Brian, you have like these, like the fancy ones that do
The coffee table hinges, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, you know. The other thing is if I was somewhere where I was spending more time in the truck,
Right.
I maybe want to have some way of accessing the drawer when it's like closed and when I'm in.
Okay.
For me, it hasn't been a problem, but like if it was raining and I needed to get at stuff, I have to like get out, pull the drawer out.
Everything would get soaked.
Everything would get soaked. Yeah.
So like you were thinking, like if you were, since he's not usually in a rainy environment, because we're here in Southern California or the southern deserts, if you were to be in the vehicle, you'd have some sort of kind of hatch right here possibly to get into this system somehow, and maybe not have the false tops on or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. That's just kind of like a thought you thought about, but
Yeah.
never really been a problem.
It's never been a problem, but I mean, I could see where it could be.
Yeah, if somebody were to build this and they would be doing more adventuring up in the Pacific Northwest, that would probably be something you want to take into consideration.
Yeah, you'd want to think about being able to access it from inside with the tailgate closed.
Yeah, gotcha. If you kind of want to wake up in the morning and it's raining and kind of want to hang out inside for a little bit or something.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I enjoy it. It's great. I'm really enjoying using it, and
it's honestly looks in really good condition for being a year old and for being 20 trips deep. When he first got it, the truck up, we made this system like pretty easily removable out of the vehicle, which took a little extra time on my part, but ended up working out, because when he got the system, he ended up putting a lot of clear coats on there and making sure that it was just nice and waterproof, and it seems like it's actually ran its path and it is in great condition still.
so
if it would have
like
been raw wood, it would have been a little more scratched up or a little water.
Yeah,
damage.
so there's like two. This comes out, and this comes out, and then there's like the full wood on
subfloor
the subfloor on it, and that's like really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I put lots of clear coat on it just to make sure it's really well protected.
Gotcha. Yeah, perfect. Well, Lauren, thanks again.
Yeah.
Glad that you love it. We just kind of want to do a little update video. It was actually Lauren's idea to come by, and we had a couple extra hours here. And I hope you guys like this video. We'll have some links in the bio for some of the things that he had used in this build and for the previous video. But thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you out for your own truck builds.